to indigenous people. So I would like to conclude this time and thank really and give thanks to and congratulate Professor Nicholas Robinson for his scientific diplomacy. And I think the Normandy Chair for Peace owes a lot to him, as much as the chair owes to Tony Oposa. And now we are a little bit ahead of time. I would like to introduce to you, I need to check whether Victor Tafo is not connected. I would like to present to you some educational highlights of the Normandy Chair for Peace, whether we're talking, whether they happened in Normandy or elsewhere. There were discussion moments, discussion times.
Dominique, comment je fais pour aller sur Internet?
How do I go online?
Je peux pas y aller. Ah, d'accord. Donc, je vais essayer de chercher en même temps que je vous parle. Donc, les temps forts au niveau de l'éducation.
So, education highlights. We have one of our vision, which was to educate to the future generations right. Yesterday, we saw one of our projects, which was really key to create those pedagogical assets to work here in France on indigenous people, but not only. There's here nothing really straightforward to teach about indigenous people or indigenous cultures. We have Guyana, we have New Caledonia, we have French Polynesia, and so on. We have Rapa Nui, for example, such richness. And our message is that we need to teach those aspects. And even this is why we had this indigenous rights line, which was organized. So during our mission here, in terms of education, we tried to work on indigenous people together with Planet Amazon. We had here in Normandy CASIX, which came to meet youngsters.
Alors, on a des très très belles images.
So we have great pictures.
On a la Cacique Tanone
and
qui est venue à
Cacique Tanone, who came here in Caen. She
fait un chant sacré qui était extrêmement touchant.
She sang this incredible text, and we had her in this special place here in this amphitheater, and the short film or movie Free Land, and it is the story and fight of indigenous people in Brazil, and namely with the Cacique Raoni, who is an international personality and a leader. And each time this movie was proposed, we also had Mr. Bastida who came, and the person in the room were all moved by the violence of what is seen and lived by the people, indigenous people, but also the message to respect their land, their territory. And this film, this movie, allows us to be aware of that fight for several years that the indigenous people had. So I would like to thank them for the great opportunity to meet Cacique people who came here in Normandy. So Cacique Talone will come back here in France, not of course with the chair, but the native magazine. So if you have a look at the magazines, you have Casix Talonais is one of the only women from Casix in Brazil. Minaí Bastida as well, from indigenous people in Mexico, came here several times as a great partner for our activities, and we would like to thank him a lot for his participation. A part of our culture, or his culture. So, and Nina Awa, Kasich still, who was received here, and he came to participate to this forum. So, World Forum for Peace, it was a great pleasure to welcome him as well here in Caen. So I would like to share one specific picture.
Il a été annoncé donc sur le site du Forum
So he was, as you see, introduced on the website.
Dans un état de l'Amazonie brésilienne.
So it's part of the Brazilian Amazonian forest, and he's in charge of the federation Kaksinawá. So these people, just to tell you one example, when they have youngsters taking pictures, they were really moved because they were reacting to that. They were teenagers, and they realized how much it was exceptional to have the opportunity to meet one person who made this long journey from Amazonia. So it was also on the local press. Anyways, that was really, really important for the World Forum for Peace. So in this specific line, education, we have profited from the venue of inspiring personalities from indigenous people in partnership with the World Forum for Peace, just as the forum is depending on us. So another highlight here was a tour, a visit in the colleges, in the high schools in Caen, and also other students from other places who came here at the university, and we talked to them, and we discussed on future generations' rights. So we were extremely happy to have these exchanges, that it's high time to teach all these rich material that we have through the universities. So there is really a great space to teach. So several rights, nation rights, new generation, future generations. Anyways, we have a lot of space to teach this kind of topics. So obviously there's also education at university, but it starts with high schools with several languages, and then it is continuing with the sharing of experiences. And then we went beyond, let's say, the region, and I would like to thank the Rennes University in Brittany, because they invited us several times to invite our works to meet students in key highlights. So first, we talked about peace, sustainable peace, and I met in that occasion teachers and students dealing with sustainable peace. So that was a great opportunity to introduce our works in these specific aspects of sustainable peace. Second highlight, which took place this year
à Océanopolis cette fois-ci.
In
À
Oceanopolis,
nouveau, à l'initiative du rectorat de Bretagne,
together with the
puisqu'il y
university
a
in
un
Brittany,
service dédié
we
à
had
l'éducation
a
au
service
développement
dedicated
durable.
to
À
education.
nouveau, un temps de rencontre avec
So
plus d'une
that was a
centaine d'étudiants
meetings,
sur
I
cette
mean,
question
organized
du droit
with
de la
the
génération
Board of
future, et
Education
ensuite
of
des mises
Rennes,
en
so the
atelier sur
University of
différents
Rennes,
thèmes.
and
Donc, on voit
we've been
qu'il y
dealing
a
with
cette
several
question
topics. So
de
there is
l'éducation au sein des lycées.
a lot
Mais
of,
pas
you
que.
know,
Je vous ai
way to
déjà à
discuss.
multiples reprises
So,
présenté
as said,
l'éducation
we've been
en termes de
discussing
master,
on
puisque j'ai pris un
education,
parcours de master droit des générations futures et transition
and
juridique en
specifically
contexte de
during
convention foraine.
masters,
Le message de Monsieur le consul général de France, Monsieur Maman,
and
était
also
pour
the
féliciter les étudiants
general,
du master génétique qui étaient
I
venus.
mean, several diplomats
Mais
were
la
really
question,
thankful.
et
So the
professeur Robinson
question,
immédiatement a imaginé cela, la question est
you know,
comment
was
fait-on
dealing with
pour
how
propulser une
to
formation
propose
académique
this
sur
kind
le
of
droit des générations
training
futures
about the
à
future
l'échelle
generations' rights
internationale?
at an international
Et à
level.
nouveau, le
So,
génie du professeur Robinson
but
a
it's still
été
Professor Robinson who helped
d'imaginer
us and imagined
un
a
partenariat
partnership
avec UPEACE,
together with
avec
UPEACE, so
l'Université de la
University
paix
of
des Nations Unies,
Peace
qui
from the
a son
UN,
siège basé
and its
au Costa
headquarters
Rica.
is in Costa Rica.
Excusez-moi, je vérifie juste une petite chose, basé au Costa Rica. Et donc, nous avons
So we had
eu l'honneur
the
d'être
privilege
invités en
to be
février
invited
dernier en
last
délégation
February
à
at the
l'Université de la paix du
University
Costa Rica,
of
UPEACE,
Peace
et
of
de
Costa Rica,
dispenser pour un
and
premier
also
test un
we
cours de
made
12
a
heures
first lesson
sur
for 12
les grands enjeux
years,
de la
for 12
mondialisation
hours, sorry,
et
and
le sens et le non-sens des droits de l'homme à l'ère de la
about
mondialisation. En fait, c'est
human
un cours que je
rights.
dispense
So
depuis
it is
maintenant
actually a
6 ans,
lesson I
7 ans
give from
presque,
6
à
years
Sciences
now
Po Rennes,
in
et
Sciences Po
qui a
Rennes,
préfiguré la
and
création du
it
parcours
was
de droit de
actually
master
at the,
Génération future et
I mean,
transition
the
juridique.
genesis
Donc,
of
ça a été
our
l'occasion de le
of
présenter
those
cette
new
fois
courses. So
à
it
une
was a great
assistance
occasion to introduce
internationale.
to an
UPEACE est un
international
campus
audience this
extraordinaire.
UPEACE.
Vous
It
avez
is
un étudiant,
really an
vous avez une
extraordinary occasion. You
nationalité,
have
un
a
étudiant,
nationality and
une
a student.
nationalité. Et
And
ça a été
then
un immense
it
honneur
was
que
a
de se
great
déplacer là-bas.
privilege
Et je
to
vois
go
que
there, and
Monsieur le
I
recteur, le vice-recteur de
we have
UPEACE, qui
the
est le doyen de la
UPEACE
faculté de droit
president,
de
who
UPEACE,
is
nous a
the
rejoints. Et j'étais en train de parler, merci
responsible of the
infiniment de
project,
nous
who
rejoindre,
came.
Juan Carlos,
So he's here with
SAINZ
us.
BORGO. C'est un immense honneur que de vous recevoir.
It's a great
Bienvenue.
honor to have you
Et
here
l'idée à présent, c'était d'expliquer
as the dean of
la
the university.
spécificité du
So
campus
please
de
explain
UPEACE
us the
peut-être
specificities
et
of the
comment
campus,
on
and
pourrait
it would
imaginer
be
aller plus
nice to
loin
imagine to go
sur des
beyond
perspectives
and forward
d'avenir
with those
de
future
création
perspectives
d'un
and the
master droit des
creation
générations
of a
futures. Et
master for
je
future
précise que
generations.
juste avant,
And
nous avons
just before,
vraiment mis à l'honneur
we
le
tried to
travail de
enhance
diplomatie
the
scientifique
scientific
de
work
professeur Robinson.
done by Professor
Juan
Robinson.
Carlos, est-ce que je
So Juan
peux
Carlos, are you
vous
available?
mettre à l'écran? Bienvenue.
Very welcome
Merci
first.
beaucoup,
Thank you so
professeur.
much, Emily.
C'est un honneur de partager
It's a
cela.
great pleasure to be with you.
Salut.
Bienvenue.
Very welcome.
Vous voulez que je parle maintenant?
Si.
Ok, d'accord.
Right, so I can start
Merci
my
beaucoup.
speech.
Pour moi, c'est meilleur en anglais, mais on peut...
Well,
oui.
I can
It's
speak
possible.
English or French.
Possible in English.
Oui, c'est seulement pour la bienvenue. So thank you very much, Miel, for the opportunity to share. As you well explained before, the University for Peace is a unique institution created by the General Assembly of the United Nations as the only graduate school within the United Nations system to award master's and doctorate degrees. So in that sense, we are a global institution. The headquarters are in Central America, in Costa Rica, but we have 12 locations around the world, 3 in the Americas, in Colombia, in Honduras, and in the United States, in Africa in 2 locations, in Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, and in Mogadishu, in Sudan. In Europe, in Belgrade and in Torino. In Asia, also in Geneva, where we have the offices before the United Nations, and in Asia, in Beijing, and in Philippines. So we have around 500 students each year in all these locations, and then we have a permanent capacity building training. Since we started cooperations with the Chaire Normandy pour la Paix, we started to research in new areas, because to have this mandate from the General Assembly, we have to reflect what is the aim of the international community, but also to really try to guide the new topics on these areas. So as such, with our permanent representative in New York, with Ambassador Narinder KAKAR and Professor Nick Robinson, we organized a first retreat. How many years ago? I mean, it was like it was before pandemic. I cannot remember, but it was before pandemic. And then in that regard, we opened the cooperation with the Chaire pour la Paix and the university. That helps to open ways. For example, we work together into the representation on the global conference of the Stockholm +50. There was an extraordinary opportunity of partnership between the Chaire pour la Paix and the University for Peace in a global scale, where we can present at the global community the developments of La Chaire. There was an extraordinary opportunity that conclude in conceptual terms in a very relevant course of the Professor Emile Gaillard here at UPEACE, in a course on the right of development of the new generation. Also, we have used a lot the work of the Chaire pour la Paix, especially the book on the global, legal indicators in terms of environmental law, because it's very difficult to develop this type of indicators, this type of quantitative and qualitative approaches into international law. And I think this has been an extremely enlightening opportunity to develop our work, because even though we are an international organization and a university, we need to permanently keep opening windows, open doors to receive all these new developments, and it is fresh air. I think it's very important for the international system, the United Nations system, to have these communications with the civil society, this communication with the academics, because it's not that simple. We can easily take the views of the governments, the views of the ambassadors, the views of the specialized body, but it's very difficult to connect with the civil society. And something that we appreciate with the leadership of Professor Emile Gaillard is that she helped us to connect with this civil society, with this new movement that we appreciate a lot. Just to comment, Professor Gaillard spent a very intensive week teaching here at the university, and the evaluation of the students was very, very good. And actually the students request to invite again Professor Gaillard to teach these topics, because for them was new. We touch in our courses the right of the next generation as a part of our courses, but we never devote a full course on the topic. So it was a great opportunity, and we are grateful for the support of the chair in our work. But I don't know, Professor Gaillard, if you would like to have a dialogue, or what is your idea?
With pleasure to have a dialogue. And we have online also James May, who's a colleague. I'm not sure you have already been introduced, but it's my pleasure to introduce you also to Jamie May, who is specialized in rights of nature and dignity of rights of future generations. So as we are family. So first of all, I would like to say that it was an extreme privilege to come and teach to UPEACE. I was just saying while you pop in, it was exactly the right transition, but I was saying that at UPEACE, what is extraordinary is the wide range of nationalities. Maybe you can emphasize how many nationalities are in the campus in average, combien de nationalités différentes il y a, parce que ce qui m'a frappé, c'est de parler avec
différents intérêts. I was really interested to deal with Africans, Asians. I mean, it was really interesting to share all that and also to teach to such an incredible audience.
For a cohort of 100 students, normally we have around 60 different nationalities. So it's quite normal that we have, you know, 1 or 2 persons of each different nationality per cohort. So it's extremely, extremely diverse. And one element that you got it immediately is that the physical location of the university is outside the city. We are surrounded of jungles and coffee plantations. So there is no social or political influence of the environment in what we do, because Costa Rica is an extremely peaceful society. They have no army. So you cannot feel the local interference in anything that we do. But when I mean no interference, I'm not talking about politics, about social environment. So we're truly an idyllic, neutral enclave in the middle of the jungle that we can discuss these topics in a very open way, in a very multicultural way, in a very multinational approach, and topics that it would be very difficult to do it in, you know, wonderful places in the world, like in New York, Paris, or Geneva, because you will feel the pressure of the environment around you. In our case, we just feel the hummingbirds, the birds going around and the trees. So it's a good environment to have important discussions.
Et ce que j'ai vu au campus de UPEACE aussi, pour permettre aux personnes de se
What happened as well in UPEACE to see, I mean, what happened, you have the opportunity to circulate in the gardens with very great figures and representatives of peace inside the campus. So that reminded me also of the role of women in peace, peacekeeping, and so on.
Qui sont représentés sur campus.
Oui, c'est le jardin de la paix.
Yes, right. It's the Gardens of Peace, so-called Gardens of Peace, and it's up to the country, to civil society, to give that importance. So we have several statues of Henri Dunant, for example, the defender of the founder of the National Red Cross, and also another person from Mexico.
I'm very bad with names, but for example, the government of Turkey donate the bust of Ataturk, and it's a very controversial point to have Ataturk there. But we always take, it was the Turkish approach on it, that, you know, that today we understand what is the relevance of Ataturk to have a non-religious country in terms of Turkey, that perhaps today is not what's going on. We have the first female president of Africa, that she came to inaugurate the monument. General Simón Bolívar from South America, the liberator, as a symbol of peace. So we have more than 30 monuments all around the campus with all different perspectives.
Excellent. So I think it provides to the audience an overview as if we were in UPEACE together. It was a great honor to come. And of course, you can be sure that I can come 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever you want. I will join, and I will be happy to teach to the students, because as we all know, next year there will be the UN Summit of the Future. So I think if there is a momentum to teach all of this knowledge is this year, from 2022 to 2023, definitely the students have to be taught this transgenerational approach of rights. And I warmly thank you for this first experience, and I'm absolutely available to further experience. And it was a great honor to meet you, great pleasure. And I would like to grant to Professor Robinson the genius, the vision of that meeting with UPEACE. because it's Professor Robinson who immediately say that if we want to promote a project of master degree at the international level, we have to imagine it hand in hand with UPEACE. And here you are, Juan Carlos. So thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much for taking the floor during this closing event. I know that you were surprised to know that the LNCP was closing, but it's closing, and maybe, and it's a message from Normandy region, if UPEACE wants to host the website of this NCP and to pursue, de continuer, I'm going to switch into French.
So if the region wants to continue, I mean, we are open to a partnership with you for next Chair Normandy for Peace, because you will be working on negotiations. And I know that UPEACE is a great partner and could be a key partner in order to create relationships with key actors and ambassadors. But the Normandy region is really, really open to this kind of continuity on new generations' rights. So we'll see what will be done in the future, and the message is here. And this is the reason why I am so much grateful to you to, I mean, first to be with us and here this Saturday. So would you like to add one more word? Yes, thank you for having me, and this on behalf of UPEACE. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you. So I would like now to have 10 minutes break so that we go back here at 15 past 5. So the next session is dedicated to scientific highlights for professionals, because of course, as you've seen, we've been working with professionals, with high schools, with the universities and researchers from all generations, but also diplomats and civil society, not only professionals of, I mean, right, of law, lawyers and magistrates. So thank you. See you.